Kazanacaksınız. Kazanmak için uğraşacaksınız. Ama netice ne olursa olsun siz benim gönlümde hep kazandınız, hep şampiyonsunuz. Ve öyle kalacaksınız.
Merhaba and welcome to the third episode of Behind the Fans, a somewhat different, extra format in addition to our weekly main series on the Lion's Den, a Galatasaray podcast. I'm your host Samet, and we have Yasin joining our third BTF episode, as the guest we have today is also from New York, America. We're bringing you a person who's been pouring oil down the many fires of Galatasaray fans, and has converted many New Yorkers into becoming a Galatasaray fan. He's a New Yorker, a father, a graphic designer, and most importantly, Cimbomlu at heart. Give a big applause to Nurshad Sarki. So, Nurshad, welcome. Did I pronounce that correctly?
100%, man. Thank you.
Is it Sarki or Sharky?
It's Sharky.
Okay, nice.
It's been tough too, even with a Turkish name. It's not exactly a Turkish name, so I've grown up people not pronouncing it right in Turkish or in English. But you got it, man.
Okay, Nurshad Sarki. Oh man, I'm proud. Thank you.
Well done.
How do your friends call you?
Just Nurshad.
Nurshad. All right. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself? Like, we got your name. What's your age? Where are you from? Where are you born and raised?
All right. Well, I was born in Queens, New York. But we moved around quite a bit when I was younger. So I grew up a little bit in Queens, a little bit in Brooklyn. We moved out to Jersey, Virginia, Florida, for brief stints. And then overall, I grew up mainly in Brooklyn and Queens throughout my life.
A real New Yorker, you'd say.
100%, man. I think the only boroughs I haven't been in yet have been in the Bronx and Manhattan. Well,
Okay.
We'll see.
And we have Yasin here as well. He always told me New Yorkers hate people from New Jersey. Is that correct, or has he been lying to me?
You know what? We just don't like when New Jersey people pretend to be from New York. But overall, I mean, I don't
That's
mind
facts.
people from New Jersey.
That is true.
They do that?
Yeah, like you don't see a New Yorker trying to be like a New Jersey, and they don't talk like hype about New Jersey or anything like that. But the Jersey people, they try to assimilate into the New York culture a little bit, and it crosses some lines sometimes, like Nurshad said. But it's mostly for memes for me, at least. I didn't grow up and live in the five boroughs. I'm out on Long Island, but a lot of my friends, the ones from New York, he's been here too. They talk more about that. I just go with it.
We also mainly just like to talk shit. So, if we can get under their skin a little bit, then that helps.
Yeah. So, Nurshad, you said you've been traveling around a lot during the years. But before getting into that, what is the meaning of your name, Nurshad?
So, my background is actually, I'm Uzbek Turk. So, I believe it's like, from what my parents told me, it's like from the Sultan of the sun or something like that. I'm not 100%. Like the sunlight. That's as far as I know. I haven't really dived too much into it.
Okay, do you feel more Turkish or do you feel more Uzbek?
Definitely more Turkish. Even my parents, they were born in Turkey. They grew up Turkish. When they came here, our whole community is Turkish. Actually, a lot of our community was Uzbek Turks that all came together.
Ah, okay.
And even with all of them, they all felt more Turkish than Uzbek.
When people ask you, like, what's your memleket? What do you say?
Turkey.
There's no specific region from Turkey your parents from?
So my parents are both from Adana.
Okay.
And then right now, most of my family is living in Istanbul, which is also where the Galatasaray love comes from. So like my uncle that was living in Istanbul, he was the one that always made sure to send me all the Galatasaray jerseys, the shorts, keychains, socks, all the cool stuff to ensure.
It's always these uncles.
100%. My parents are not into sports at all.
No, we had John on the Behind the Fans episode 1 as well, and it was also an uncle for him, as the rest of his family was Fenerbahce supporters, he said. But interesting.
Same thing. And I feel like that's why my uncle did it, because he knew that on my father's side, they were heavy Fenerbahce, and he was like, I'm not having him in the blue and yellow. It's got to be Galatasaray.
That's good. That's good. Thank your uncle for me.
Definitely. I thank him all the time, every time I see it. It's funny though, because we got New York City FC was founded maybe like, I think 7 years ago. And then I had the opportunity to send his son a New York City FC jersey and then make sure that he's a New York fan too. So
That's nice.
Nice.
Returned the favor there.
So you mentioned you moved all across the States, basically. Is there a particular reason for that?
Just my dad basically went wherever he felt like there was money, wherever there was work. So we moved around a lot. But you know, it always ended up coming back to New York because it was home.
That's how you feel as well?
100%.
You didn't like any of the other states you visited?
They were cool, but it's once you grow up in New York, you're used to like a certain pace. And, they have the saying, the New York minute. You get a lot done in 1 minute in New York, whereas everywhere else kind of felt like, they take their time, which, they enjoy life, but we like to rush through things and, move on to the next.
Get shit done, eh?
Exactly.
That's nice. So what do you do for a living, if I may ask?
So I'm a graphic designer.
Is that like your full-time job?
Yeah. So I do a lot of work in like the menswear industry, a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So I'll help build their e-com platforms, their websites. I set up their marketing campaigns. So a lot of those like emails that you get with graphics, there's certain promotions and things like that. I help them set those up. And then more recently, I started getting into like merchandise design, which has been really fun. So I want to try to grow on that as well.
Who knows? If we grow big, you might help us out a bit there.
Oh, just let me know, man.
The Lions Den merch coming out soon. You heard it. I've actually been looking into that a bit. Even if it's just for us, it's just fun to do indeed. So I can recognize in that.
Yeah, that's where I find myself having the most fun.
So how did you end up in New York, like with your family? Did you start in Uzbekistan or did you start in Turkey and then your parents or grandparents moved to New York?
So my parents were born, both of them were born in Adana. And then my dad ended up coming to New York, I think when he was like 12 years old. And then he actually joined the military and he was in the Air Force. And then he went back to Adana, where he kind of met up with my mom again. And then from there, they got married. And then he brought her back over to New York. And then I was born in 87, which was like a year after they got married.
87. So you're about 34?
30. I'm turning 35. Yeah.
Congrats.
Getting up there.
So do you have any feelings for Adana Demirspor or is that
very, very close feelings? I was actually torn watching them this season because I'm happy to see them doing so well, but they were doing much better than Galatasaray, which was not a good feeling either. But that's why I really like seeing Yunus. Yeah, I love seeing Yunus playing well over there, and then it was always fun watching Balotelli play too. So I'm glad if it wasn't Galatasaray, I'm glad he went over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanted to say something, Yasin?
I was going to say, I'm sure he felt even more split when he watched Yunus play for Adana versus Galatasaray.
Definitely.
Even myself, I have nothing to do with Adanaspor, but when I watched Yunus play for them and score those beautiful goals against us both times, I felt in me want to celebrate because he's doing so well, and I know he's coming back to us, but then it's just like, oh, Galatasaray's screwing up again, we're losing again. Yeah. It's just, it was a mixed feeling, and I'm sure you had even more mixed feelings during that process.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know what? I'm happy for Yunus too, because I feel like that was necessary. Like it felt like when he was playing with Galatasaray, he never really got that opportunity, and I didn't understand why. Like they would play him, he would have a great game, and then he would go back on the bench, which is kind of like what we're doing with Butters right now, and he needs the opportunity to play as well.
Yeah, I can't lie. When Yunus scored goals against us, I wasn't really sad, to be honest. Yasin and you actually know each other, is what I understood. This is what he told me in Istanbul. How did that occur? And can you tell a bit about that story? Like, how did you meet Yasin?
So when I was in, we both attended Baruch College, which is a university out in Manhattan. And at Baruch, I think at the time, I was president of the Turkish Student Association, and I had a friend that had started a new like soccer fan club. So we weren't really playing, but we were more like setting up events, watch parties. So I would kind of tie in the events with both clubs. And I think, Yasin, was it the Galatasaray Real Madrid game? There was a bar we did a watch party at.
Even before that, I'll just quickly take over from here because it's very vivid in my mind, and I don't think I'll ever forget it. So I was in like the main campus building. We have a few buildings, Summit, because it's a city school. So amongst like 2 different streets, there's like 3-4 different buildings that you go to, and we were at the main campus. I was on the 9th floor going to one of my classes. I believe I was not wearing a Galatasaray shirt, but then I think I was getting out of the elevator or going in. I forget. I see Nurshad, and he's classic Galatasaray wearing his shirt with pride. I'm like, hey, are you Turkish? You follow Galatasaray? He's like, yeah, I do. You know, we started talking, and then we realized we have some mutual connections, which our friend, I think his name was John Park. He was the guy that Nurshad just mentioned that was part of the soccer club, the organizer. I was like, hey, man, look, I'm looking for Galatasaray fans to talk with because that was what, I think 2011, 2012. This was about a year or 2 after I really got into Galatasaray because up until then, growing up, I was just like an average supporter. If they play, I watch. If not, you know, I didn't constantly follow it. So at that time, I was like super intrigued into Galatasaray. I want to
2012 was a great time too, man.
great time to join as a fan too. So like I'm spoiled a little bit. I didn't go through some rough patches that y'all have been through before that, but you know, I was looking for fans and I saw him. I was super excited. We talked and he's like, hey man, like he was super nice. We do these watch parties. You know, we have the Champions League games coming up. Why don't you come along? I'm like, hell yeah. So we started watching games together. It was a Real Madrid game, which I think, you know, going off of what you just finished, I think that was our first game that we went to together. It was at a local bar, like a minute from the school. And that was a game that I think we won 3-2 or the 3-2 was a second aggregate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the one. And then there was also Juventus games, which I skipped classes to watch with him at a different bar. I mean, I have zero regrets, but you know, that was a nice connection because he was able to build.
It was worth it.
Yeah, it was a hell of a time. Zero regrets whatsoever. He introduced me to some of his friends that were also Turkish, but also not Turkish. Then that's when things picked up with like we played indoor leagues. Our friend John was able to start those up. And then Nurshad was also, because of his graphic design experience, we set up a team of a mixture of like Turks/non-Turks, Eastern Europeans. And the Eastern Europeans were so close with Nurshad and the other Turkish guy that they were just cool with going along with the Turkish name. So we created a team called Baruch Turks. And I think Nurshad, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the one that designed that shirt, right?
Yeah, actually, I did the initial design. And then,
okay.
Do you remember Can?
Yeah, I do.
He was the other Turkish kid from Long Island. I think it didn't exactly work with some of like the templates that we were going to use, so he had to modify it a bit. But yeah, so that was a joint venture between me and him.
Awesome. Yeah, so we played indoor leagues together, and that was a good time. That was a very like big portion of the fun that I had at Brewer College, and you know, Nurshad was probably considered my first fanatic Galatasaray friend. I remember Nurshad. We were at a bar.
That's an honor, man.
Yeah, you were like that. So this is maybe getting a little bit off topic, but like when I think of fans and, you know, I think of Ultra Aslan as like the ultimate fanatic group, right? So when I think of them and I try to relate my friends that I know that are Galatasaray to that Ultra Aslan group, I think of 2 people. One of them is John, which is one of the guys that's in the podcast, the Canadian that we went to Turkey with. And then I think of Nurshad. And the reason why I think of Nurshad is because we were at the game, pre-game, we're just getting ready, we're hype. And then he starts rattling everybody up. He's about to do the Üçlü, right? And me, a 1 to 2 year new baby fanatic fan, at least I called myself fanatic at the time. Clearly I wasn't, because I'm like, what's this Üçlü? Like, what are we doing right now? And he's like doing it. And I'm just like, I try to follow it. Think of like Dursun Özbek's first presidential campaign trying to do the Üçlü. And he's like off rhythm. He's doing it like an idiot. That was me. But that was my first experience of doing an Üçlü, even though it was pretty bad. Man, I'll never forget it.
Okay.
I just need to get that across because, I mean, before I hand it off to Nurshad and Summit again, we were on the Twitter page and I'm looking at the likes because we don't have too many, you know, we're growing. 3-5, sometimes 10-20. And I look at the likes. I'm like, wait, Nurshad, this name sounds familiar. And then I open up the profile. I'm like, oh, tam kendisi. So I reached out to Summit. I'm like, yo,
profile picture with the Galatasaray.
Yeah, of course, right? No surprise. I'm like, Summit, if we do any kind of like behind the fans, whatever, which he was already talking about, I'm like, I would love for us to be able to do with Nurshad because he is the epitome of what a Galatasaray fan is. And I would love to hear more about it and, catch up at the same time too. Of course, bro. I'm glad you're here and it's a great conversation so far. I hope you like the rest of it too.
I'm sure, man. I'm glad to be here.
Yep.
So, Nurshad, you played ball with Yasin. Be honest, is he any good?
To be honest, I was so bad that I probably made him look good. So,
I mean, you're what, 24, 25? You established the team. What position did you play?
I was pretty slow, so I was like, you know what? I'll be the center back. At that time, I didn't really grow up playing soccer either. Like, I grew up in New York, and I didn't grow up around too many Turkish people, so we mainly played basketball. And I'm 6'3", so I was pretty used to already defending, being in the paint and playing defense. So I tried to tie that into soccer, but the footwork is not the same.
No. I mean, for me, I just got into basketball. Started watching when Andreas Pistolis came in to Galatasaray. So very fresh for me at the moment.
Yeah, basketball was my main sport. But, after Galatasaray, I kind of like, I mean, I was also a Knicks fan, and the Knicks have always let me down every year anyway. So Galatasaray just kind of took over.
And Yasin, what position did you play when you played football with Nurshad?
I think when we were playing indoors, I probably played a little bit more in the midfield or left wing. Indoors is a little bit more compact of a game, so it's a lot more quick passing, and that was one of my strengths growing up. Playing on the full field, I was able to kind of see the field and make the right passes at the right time. I was not the best. I was not the fastest player. I was not the most skilled player, so I kind of stayed away from the striker role. So I like to pass the ball. I think I played in the midfield, if I remember correctly.
I see.
Yeah.
Yasin, if you still play, I think you'll be happy to hear, though.
Yeah.
I met up with a bunch of other dads out here in Staten Island, and we've been playing in somewhat of a dad's league.
Okay.
For like the past few years. I've gotten much better. And with my the length of my legs, I'm probably the fastest 35-year-old on the field too. So that's been a nice boost for me.
Nice. Is there like a minimum age limit? Because I'm only 28. I know a lot of these men's leagues, they start at 30 minimum. You guys have a...
No. We actually have... There's a kid that's like 18 years old. He comes out to play with us too. And I'm the only one that can keep up with him. So that's been a nice boost to my confidence.
Nice.
Okay, potentially.
Yeah, I'm the same. My condition can only like do 35-year-old dad leagues. So what I've been doing on Sundays. And I haven't even been running. I've been goalkeeping. Can you imagine?
I mean, I'm winded probably like 15 or 20 minutes in, but that first 15, 20 minutes, I feel good.
Yeah. So you're 24, 25, and you decide suddenly I'm going to be president of a Turkish association in college, or how did that happen?
So when I went back to Baruch, I kind of took a break in between like my college years. And then around, I think when I was 23, 24, I went back to Baruch. And then, unfortunately, I met Yasin in my senior year, so we didn't get to hang out too much. But while I was there, I was taking the classes, and there was a lot of breaks that I had in between the schedule because classes were set at a certain time. So I knew some other people that were like part of the clubs, and they were like, come help us out with the clubs in between those break periods. So I was like, all right, sure, why not? And then, from there, it went to, I think when I started, I was like a vice president of the Turkish Student Association. And then following year, my senior year, I took over and I was president then. And, the whole thing there was we were trying to bring all the Turkish students together and give them, the same thing for me. Like we were trying to fill in those gaps and give them something to do, enjoy their time at the school pretty much. So
yeah, that's nice.
And I feel like we did a lot of cool events. I was satisfied. Yasin, how'd you feel?
I was so busy with other clubs at the time, man. I remember you mentioning like, hey, why don't you join the club or whatever. I was so busy with like the accounting society and then the finance club and then
The
my own
Fenerbahce
schoolwork
Society.
too. Yeah, the Fenerbahce society. Yeah. So I didn't have that much time to unfortunately take part of these events, but that's one regret that I did have. Because while you're talking about this, I'm like, I really did wish I could join that Turkish specific club because that's what I wish I had more of, Turkish friends to talk whatever about. But yeah, that's my experience.
Yeah, you definitely do meet a lot of people in those clubs. And I will say, like, I think the main point why a lot of us wanted to, be a part of it was Baruch, like the school actually had a budget that they would give these clubs. So you could either use it, or you lose it. So we were, going out and grabbing lunch, having dinners, throwing all these events on Baruch's budget, which was really cool. And that saved a lot of us some money as well.
Nice. Hey guys, 10-minute break. I gotta pick up my groceries that came in and then we'll continue from there. But feel free to chat if you want.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Be right back.
All good, man. I'm here.
Shad, bro, you busy nowadays with
Yasin
work? What's your work schedule like?
You know what? I'm working from home. I'm pretty much working for myself, so it's pretty much I'm flexible, which is nice. I get some projects, I work on it from there.
Okay.
It's mainly the kids that keep me busy, man.
How many is it now? Was it 2 or 3?
Yeah, I got 2. I have one. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and then now I have a 2-year-old. She's about to be 3 in July.
Yeah, that's okay. At least I guess you're past that very difficult sleep depriving time period of like age 0 to 2, right?
Sleep deprived.
Still like that?
She wakes up like multiple times a night. I'm like, the first one actually, I think after like 3 months old, she would sleep through the night. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, I have a miracle child. I was like, this is easy. We can have another one. And it was not the case. That's where all the bags under my eyes come from now.
Yeah, I bet. I have a cousin who has 1 kid, and I'm like, when are you guys gonna have the second one? Like that's what your parents want. That's what me as a cousin. The more the merrier, right? To hang out with like.
That's what everybody always asks. You have one, and then they're like, "When's the next one?"
Yeah, I know. I hear that though. I just recently I took 2 years off from work for personal reasons, but I just started work again this week in the city, and I am just exhausted. So I was always living in the city, whether that's Manhattan or like Sunnyside, Astoria, all around those areas.
Sunnyside is really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. Going to school, whether it was Baruch, in 23rd and Lex was super easy, or I was working by Times Square my first 2 years after school, so that was super easy as well. My commute, I was kind of spoiled because I had some friends that were commuting from Long Island, which is where I'm from and live now. And I never got to really live through that difficulty, that struggle. But now that I'm back to work and I'm living at home, I stopped living in the city. My first week, they wanted me there every single day. I know like like you said, you're working from home. I didn't get to experience that my first week. So it's an hour and a half to work, an hour and a half from work.
Damn.
And that's just
I
been
remember those trips.
Yeah. You said you did Long Island too. So first week was a struggle.
I lived in Oceanside for like 5 years.
All right, you Americans, I'm back.
You're back?
Yeah.
Oh, my man said 10 minutes. I don't think it's been a minute.
Yeah, delivery goes fast, man. They just bring it almost into
Deliveries
your fridge.
Are great, man.
Yeah, I love this era.
Nice.
All right, so Nurshad, you were saying about the society, the Turkish presidency. I wonder, in America, do you have to campaign for that? Like vote for Nurshad and things like that?
No, not really. I mean, we were a small group. And then the president in my last year already had graduated. So we kind of like looked at each other and said, who wants to take over? And then they were just kind of like, why don't you do it? So I was like, sure, why not?
Okay. You didn't have a democratic elections where you win by 5 votes?
Nah, not really. I just, I gave everybody some baklava and we called it a day.
So during your presidency over there, how would you consider yourself an Burak Elmas, Ünal Aysal, or Dursun Özbek?
You know what? I might sound a little cocky, but I might go with Ünal Aysal, man. Because I feel like we really got our name out there with some of the events that we did. Ünal Aysal was the king of marketing, so
That is true. That is true. He did increase our value a lot. Definitely a different era when Ünal
made us a
Aysal was
marca.
president.
You know what? That was a huge. I noticed the difference too, because like Yasin said, like he wasn't the first one that recognized the Galatasaray jersey when I would wear it in like around the campus. So like people would see it, and at the time that was when we had first gotten Drogba too. So they'd be yelling out Drogba or Snyder.
Yeah.
I feel like if we didn't make those transfers, like they would be like, oh, I think I've seen that in Champions League. Only people that are really like diehard soccer fans really recognize Galatasaray before that.
Yeah. Do you think the recognition came not necessarily because of Ünal Aysal, but mainly because of the success, or did you think it's all a combined planned thing?
I mean, one, we got the players, right? So we had Drogba and Snyder. So people that were familiar with the players, they knew where they were going. Then we had that great run in the Champions League. So, it put Galatasaray into millions of more eyeballs. And that got the name out there. So it was all of it all together.
So I think maybe we'll do an interruption for our quick rounds. And basically, I'm going to ask Nurshad. I'm going to ask you either this or that. And you have to quickly, without thinking, name it, basically.
Let's go for it.
All right, here we go. Dursun Özbek, Ünal Aysal, or Burak Elmas?
Ünal Aysal.
George Hagi or Wesley Sneijder?
Snyder. Only because I didn't really get to watch Hagi. I watched the highlights and all that, and I love Hagi, but I got to watch Snyder in person live. Oof. So that's why I got to lean towards my man Wes.
Okay. How about Hakan Şükür or Mario Jardel?
Hakan Şükür.
All right. Fernando Reguez or Felipe Melo?
Felipe Melo. That's my boy.
American or Turkish kitchen?
Ooh, Turkish kitchen, 100%.
Come on, easy one. You didn't even need to think about that.
I thought more about what the question was asking, but it's not even a question.
Yeah, that's true. Tafarel or Muslera?
Muslera. Same as my Hagi response. I love Tafarel, but I'm seeing Muslera live.
Makes sense. Worst player of Galatasaray, and I need it quick.
Oh shit, Tarık Çamdal.
Oh, that's a good one. Did you listen to the previous podcast or something?
I did not actually. I was even thinking maybe I should listen to one of those episodes before I do this.
All right, good. Because I didn't change the questions much. That's good. All right, and how about the best coach of Galatasaray?
Fatih Terim, without a doubt.
All right, and nobody else.
As far as the success that we've had, it's mainly been under Fatih Terim, right? But if you want to say like overall, the people that we've had, Mancini's another level.
Yeah. Now I want to get more into the story of how you got to support Galatasaray. You gave us a bit teasers already about your uncle, but when did you really become a fanatic? How Yasin said when he became a fanatic.
So, growing up in America, we didn't really have access to the Galatasaray games, and you weren't really able to watch it live. I think like the only way that you could really watch the Galatasaray games was we had this one Turkish video store in Brooklyn. What was it called? I think was it like Uludağ Video or something? But you can go there at the time, and then they would have recorded videotapes of like all the Turkish dizes, Turkish movies. Like that was the only way that you were watching Turkish media, was if you go to this one store and get the VHS cassette tape and pop it into your VCR. So I never really got to watch Galatasaray live or at all pretty much until about like 2008 when we started getting those bootleg streams on the internet.
Yeah.
And around that time, I think around 2006, 2007, I started hanging out with more Turkish people. And, once you get into a group of Turkish people, the first thing that they ask you is, Kimi tutuyorsun? Who's your team? And I already knew, my team was Galatasaray, even though I barely knew anything about them. But I knew my team was Galatasaray. That was confirmed.
How did you know?
Just because my uncle was always sending me the jerseys. He sent me the flags, socks, keychains.
All the way from
everything.
Turkey?
All the way from Turkey. Anytime somebody was coming from Turkey, my uncle had a package coming my way. So, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
That is, Fuat Daya, I love you. So, yeah, like around 2008, I started hanging around more Turkish people. And then we started talking about soccer. And then the more I watched, the more I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like you saw the atmosphere at the games. And around 2008, that's when we had like Milan Baroš, Harry Kewell. Arda was like just getting into his prime. So it was exciting to watch those games too. And that's when I started becoming like obsessed, like fanatic.
Purple jersey era, huh?
Yes, I actually have one of those purple jerseys too. The Orospurengi.
No, that's later. That's the pink one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The purples were goats. That was Keita.
That was when we had Keita. Ooh,
yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
Keita. I missed that guy. He was fun to watch too.
Oh, hell yeah. So, VHS cassettes. You watched a full game on VHS?
I feel old as hell talking about VHS cassettes.
Did you know the result when you watched those?
No, so I actually never watched those tapes. That was like the only way that you would be able to watch those games. And
I see.
Like I said, like my parents weren't really that into sports. So they would be the ones going to the store and getting like Ibo show recorded on this VHS tape. So yeah, what got me into it was I had like friends sending me the illegal streams of League TV, and then we'd be watching those together on the computer.
I see. And what did your parents think of? Like they obviously started noticing, hey, Nurshad's really getting into football and getting fanatic. Well, how was their response when they noticed?
They actually loved it because when I was growing up, I wasn't really growing up like I still had the Turkish culture in me. But I was more, I guess I was considered like more American growing up. And then like my college years, like those young years, they started noticing, all right, he's starting to get into more Turkish things. So I was watching, the Galatasaray games. I started watching Kurtlar Vadisi. I started listening to more Turkish music, which like before that, my parents would have Turkish music on and be like, I don't want to listen to this. And then all of a sudden I'm listening to Turkish music. So they're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So they were proud to see, me becoming a little bit more Turkish and one with our culture.
Yeah. I guess you had a lot of American friends that saw this change with you as well. How did they respond?
For sure. They were, I don't know. I guess they thought it was cool too because I was introducing them to things that they'd never seen before. In New York, you grow up. It's when they say it's like a melting pot. It's so many different cultures. Especially at the time I was living in Queens, so I had friends from all over. I had friends that were Brazilian, Honduran. I had Greek friends. I had friends from Belarus, Albanians, Bosnians. And then, the Albanians, Bosnians, Greeks, we all have like a similar culture. So when we got together and then we were talking about soccer, they had something that they were adding. They had something that they were adding. So it actually helped us connect a little bit better as well.
I guess at the time, soccer wasn't popular at all in America.
Yeah.
Or am I mistaken?
I mean, it still continues to grow, but like in the past 10 years, I've seen crazy amount of growth with the way that the MLS is going.
Is it still something for girls? Is that still how it's considered?
No. I walk by the parks and they have all these games with like little boys. They're getting more into it now.
Yeah.
But definitely growing up, like it was more considered a girls' game at the time, just because of like the access.
And what do you mean when you say access?
Like if you see in Turkey, they have like little fields, or in other countries even, they have like small fields of soccer fields set up with like goals and everything. But if you walk around and look at the local parks, they all have either basketball courts or handball courts. You don't really see much of a place to play soccer. That's why even when you watch MLS, like you'll see a lot of the teams still play on American football fields, or NYCFC, we play in Yankee Stadium. It's a baseball field.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
We're still getting mocked. We still get mocked just for that field, but finding real estate in New York for a soccer field is tough.
Wow. But is it normal that this happens with football teams in the US?
Throughout the league, a lot of them actually have soccer-specific stadiums now, just because MLS is growing and they're being better funded. I mean, they just struck a deal with Apple TV for $2.5 billion for 10 years.
Wow.
So I feel like we're going to see MLS grow very big very soon.
That reminds me of Ted Lasso, the TV show that I recently watched. Might help with the popularity gain as well. Very
definitely. Americans love Ted Lasso. I feel like Ted Lasso also helps explain the game to Americans too that aren't too familiar. But I mean, I see a lot more Americans that actually have a team that they support now too, which is amazing.
That's good. That's nice. Is it mostly American teams or European teams as well?
I see mostly Premier League, because I feel like that's the biggest broadcast in America. That's the one that there's like easiest access to. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Yasin. Like I see a lot of Arsenal, a lot of Chelsea, Man City jerseys around lately. And then, there's always like the we're a nation of immigrants too. So you see a lot of Italian leagues, Juventus jerseys, Milan jerseys. I feel like Italians were probably the heaviest in soccer growing up though. Like they always represented and now everybody else is just kind of catching up.
How often did you see a Galatasaray jersey when you walked in New York?
Only if I was in like a Turkish environment, I would see Turkish jerseys and whatnot then. But even then, it wasn't that frequent.
There are Turkish environments in New York City. It's like the Chinatown.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, Yasin was just saying he lived in Sunnyside for a bit in Queens. That's a very big Turkish population there as well. But there isn't too many like Turkish 100% communities. We're pretty spread out all over.
So for us Europeans, when we hear Queens, Brooklyn, and think of the past, it's basically, we think of, well, at least I do, lots of shootings, very dangerous places, ghetto. Is that like a true perspective that us Europeans have, or?
I mean, it happens, but I feel like there's crime everywhere. I don't know. Maybe as an American, I don't really see it as like the Wild West as somebody from the outside looking in. I guess for us, it's kind of like an occurrence that kind of happens. I mean, like these mass shootings are a whole nother level. Like that's ridiculous. And obviously something needs to be done in this country, but I don't know if we're going to see that anytime soon.
Is it true that at schools over there, there's like security checks and stuff like that when you enter?
Some schools. I know when I was in high school, when I first moved back to Queens, I was supposed to go to this school with metal detectors set up. And my dad looked at it on the day we were going to register. And he was like, "What is this?" So he took us to a different school, one that was in like the next town over. And he signed us up there.
Jersey?
No, it's a different part of Queens.
Okay.
But I'll never forget. So my first day, like this is supposed to be the safer school, but then there was a stabbing that happened that day. So I was like, "Oh, great."
So it's very eye-opening, very different to hear these stories for a European, let's say.
I wish I could see it in that point of view too, man.
Yeah, it's insane, man. When I hear about mass shootings and stuff like that, it's like, shootings at schools? What? Children? How? It's like, doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. Even to us, it doesn't make sense. But
yeah. Well, I hope the situation changes over there. So back to more positive vibes. What would be your ultimate favorite memory of Galatasaray?
My favorite memory? I actually went to Galatasaray versus Chelsea in London in 2014. So Drogba's return to Stamford Bridge. The result wasn't great. I mean, I think we lost, was it 0-1?
It must be something like that because I
0-1 or 2-1. I remember we lost, but just the atmosphere, like I had the time of my life. I was sitting with Ultraslan Avrupa.
Oof. How did you get there?
So there is a organization out here called Galatasaray USA.
Nice.
I kind of linked up with them and they were selling tickets. They had like a travel package to anybody that wanted to go. And then I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to this. I had actually just gotten married. And then we were planning a honeymoon, and my wife was like, "Let's go to Paris, and you know what? Let's do a second city." He was like, "Let's go sightsee," and I'm like, "Perfect. We're gonna go to London."
Nice.
So we
You didn't
fit
tell
that
her?
in. Oh, she already knew, but she knew how much of a fanatic I was, and she
Yeah.
was like, "Let's do it." So she was very supportive too.
Yeah, that reminds me of my situation currently. I'm married as well, and actually
Congrats.
expecting a baby now recently.
Oh, congratulations, man!
Thanks, man. And I'm already saying to her, look, this is the date of the baby. This is when the Fenerbahce derby probably will be. So a few days away wouldn't hurt. Like, I'm already preparing for that.
Just mentally.
Exactly.
These are some dates you should know.
Yeah. Just so you know, I'm just waiting for TFF to announce the dates. Just hold the baby a bit more. So, London, you watched Chelsea against Galatasaray.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last question about that. How much were the tickets, the package that time?
I think total for like Paris and London together, I paid like 1,400, which wasn't bad. I think the game tickets were probably like, I think it was like 75 euros or something. I could be wrong. Maybe it was like 100 euros at the time.
Well, yeah, definitely feeling the inflation these days, if you consider.
Oh
those
yeah. I mean, at the
prices,
time, it was like US dollar to the US euro wasn't that far off, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Istanbul, the stadium?
I have.
Mm.
I went to Istanbul, I think the year before. I went in 2012.
And that's when you saw Snyder, I guess?
No, I didn't see Snyder there. I saw Snyder in at Chelsea.
Ah, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And which game did you go when you were in Istanbul?
I didn't get to go. Fortunately, every time I go to Turkey, it's in like the middle of the summer when the season's on break. Even now, I'm planning a trip, especially with the kids. So
Yeah.
we're like, we're going to go, but it's going to be during the off season.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they got to go to school and all that stuff. But my goal is to go to the Nef Stadium at one point in my life.
Yeah, according to Erden Timur, we still call it Ali Samiyan.
Ali Samiyan it is. That's why I respect Erden Timur. He doesn't have that ego. He's like, it's Nef, but let's still call it Ali Samiyan.
Yeah, it's his own company, Nef, and he's still like, yeah, no, it's fine.
That was the only bright spot that Dursun Özbek taking over again. I was like, all right, maybe it might be different this time. I was like, I believe in Erden Timur. So let's see where that goes.
Yeah. All right. I have a last Gala related question for you.
Shoot.
If you could have like a coffee or dinner with any Galatasaray figure, who would you choose?
Ooh. That's a tough one. Current or of all time?
All time.
Damn.
Nobody comes to mind?
I never thought about it before.
Player, coach, president, doesn't matter.
I'm going to go and just say Wesley Sneijder, just because of all the experience that he has, and I'd love to know.
He does look like a
Everything's
fun
done.
guy to have dinner with.
Oh, yeah, especially now. You know he's enjoying himself. You see that
Oh, hell
guy?
yeah. Yeah, you can relate better, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No, actually, that got me thinking a bit as well. If it was all time, I'd probably Metin Oktay or Ali Sami Yen
Good.
himself. Like, ask him, how
Good
the
answer.
fuck did you set this up? Like, very interesting.
Back then, there probably wasn't much to set up anyway, though.
Yeah, that's true.
He probably said, let's start a team. Boom.
Yeah, it's just it probably went just like you at Baruch. That, I'm president, let's do organization of a football team or stuff like that. And then
Right.
Yasin is playing in the team and Galatasaray exists.
We could be terribly wrong, but I'm thinking back then it had to be much easier than it is now.
Yeah.
Now you've got all the finances in soccer, and you got to be a billionaire to own a team.
It's much more corporate, right? At the time, it was a bit more different, I guess. I think we can go to the quiz, Nurshad. Let's test your
All right.
Gala knowledge a bit. Is it rusty or you think you can manage?
Let's see. We're about to find out. I'm curious myself.
All right. You're going to get $1 million when you finish the whole...
Let's go.
All right. Let's start. Question number 1. I'll start with an easy one for you. Question 1. Who is Ali Sami Yen? And it's multiple choice.
Founder of Galatasaray, 1905.
Mashallah. The multiple choice answers were goalkeeper, top scorer, coach, or president. Like to start easy. Question number 2. How many times has Galatasaray won the Turkish league?
23 times.
I'm sorry?
23 times.
I'll give you the multiple choice answers. 21, 19, 22, or 20.
Oh, it's 20. You know what? It is 22. I was expecting 23 last season. That's where that came from.
You won in your mind.
Exactly. we were there. We were right there.
Yeah, just one more goal, right? All right. Question number 3. Who is the top scorer in Galatasaray's history? Is it A. Tanju Çolak, B. Hakan Şükür, C. Arif Erdem, or D. Ümit Karan?
Oh shit. I thought Gomez took over 4 years ago now.
In Galatasaray history?
Didn't he with the 31 goals?
That's not the
Oh.
option.
Wow.
Oh, this is not in a single season, but like total history.
Mm.
Total, like all season
Oh,
combined.
I'm gonna go with Hakan Şükür.
All right. Are you 100% positive?
Let's go with Hakan Şükür. That's my final answer.
Doo-doo-doo.
I'm glad you got the reference.
That's correct. All right, we're going to question number 4. Which team has Galatasaray never won against in a full 90-minute game? All of history, 1905 to 2022. Is it A. Barcelona, B. Juventus, C. Arsenal, or D. Manchester United? This might be a tricky one.
This is a tricky one. I'm gonna go with Arsenal because when we won that Emirates Cup, it went into overtime, I believe, right?
We indeed never won against Arsenal in a full 90-minute game. That's correct. We won against them in penalty shootouts, I think. Question number 5. Who is the most expensive transfer in the history of Galatasaray? Mbaye Diagne, Wesley Sneijder, Elano Blumer, or Mario Jardel?
I think Jardel was like 16 million, right?
Is that your final answer?
I think Jardel was like 13. I'm gonna go with Jardel.
That is correct.
Woo!
You're going on a good streak, man.
Proud of myself here.
Just don't bloat yourself too much because everyone else got them good as well.
Good to know.
I've been saying the past 3 episodes I need to make them more difficult. Haven't gotten to it yet. So link to that question. How many million euros is Mario Jardel, the most expensive transfer in history of Galatasaray? I'll give you figures. Is it 13 million, 15.5 million, 17.05 million, or 19 million in euros?
I remember this number 16 at some point, but I guess that wasn't in euros. So why don't we just go with the 15.5?
Are you positive?
Let's go with that.
Unfortunately,
Oof.
right after feeling good, you have to do this.
That's how it always goes, right?
It's 17.05 million euro.
Okay. I flew too high to the sun.
Yeah. Alright, this one you should know. Question number 7. What date did Muslera come to Galatasaray? Is it August 2011, August 2012, January 2011, or January 2012?
I remember it being the summer. It was the off season. We traded Lorik Sana.
Of.
Was it 11 or 12?
Loriksana. Yeah. Good trade.
Good trade. I like Loriksana too, but
Oh,
nothing
hell yeah.
compared to Muslera. Let me go with 11.
That is correct.
Woo!
We're going to question number 8. Who was the captain of Galatasaray in 2000? The year the team won the UEFA Cup. Is it Georgi Hagi, Ayhan Akman, Hakan Şükür, or Bülent Korkmaz?
Bülent Korkmaz.
That is correct. Büyük kaptan.
Büyük kaptan.
Aynen. Number 9. In which city did Galatasaray win their 2000 UEFA Championship? This is an open question.
Copenhagen.
Every Gala fan should know this. Denmark.
I recognize that banner anywhere.
So in BTFO2 we had an Italian Gala fan, and he had this question wrong, so I'm interested. Question number 10. Name the players that were known as bum in the 2010 season of Galatasaray.
2010.
Does bum say anything to you?
Yes. Shit, what was his name? He was a bum. I don't even remember his name. Who was the guy? I know we had a couple that were busts, but I mean, we had Barış's back.
Yeah, that's the first one. That's the B.
Who was Mustafa? The guy with the long hair. He ripped the jersey. I forgot his name. Mustafa San.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. The guy that ripped the jersey. One more.
We have?
And you got to fill in the A.
Juan Pablo Pino.
Oh, that was such a terrible season.
That was bad. I mean, who else? Giovanni Dos Santos was a bust.
Yeah, it was Georgia Hagi that coached, right? So he brought in Juan Pablo Pino.
Oh.
And
who was the other Romanian? Manuel.
Yeah.
Coolio,
yeah.
Coolio.
I actually liked Coolio back then.
Coolio was good, but he wasn't at the level we needed him.
Of course not.
I think he was like a good Anadolu team. He would have been the star of an Anadolu team, but he wasn't at the level we needed. Actually came from the Romanian league.
Yeah.
It was like I forgot the name of the team, but it was like a mid-table Romanian team.
Yeah, we had a lot of bumps at that time.
A lot.
Well, so the A. I can give you a hint if you want for the A.
What's his name? His name started with an A?
Yeah, of course.
Aydın Yılmaz?
No.
Aydın Yılmaz.
No, that's wrong. I'll give you one hint for your last try.
Let's go.
He has many sons that play for the youth of Galatasaray.
Ayhan Akman?
Yes.
I don't consider him a bum though. Like he was okay for us.
Well, it's the BAM. The BAM is known to be the worst midfield that we had in that perspective. So.
Got it. In that viewpoint, I get it. I'm thinking about it as a bum, as in like he sucks, because he was way better than Mustafa Sarki.
Oh yeah,
it
was his last year. I mean, with that team, he was still a good midfielder for us, for sure.
I mean, I remember even Hasan Şaş's last season for us wasn't great either, but he was still Hasan Şaş.
That's how it is, They get old, like Selçuk İnan as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere near prime Selçuk.
Yeah, our team just has a problem with letting go.
Oh yeah, and letting go on time. That's our issue.
Exactly. On time and respectfully. Like I feel like we drag it out, and then the whole fan base just turns on the players, and it's not their fault,
Exactly. I have 3 bonus questions. If you want.
Let's go.
You want to redeem yourself?
I need that redemption.
The bonus question number 1. In what year did Dursun Özbek become president of Galatasaray for the first time?
I think it was 2014, right?
Is it 2013, 2014, 2015, or 2016?
I want to say it was the 14-15 season.
It was in 2015. I think Ünal Aysal still at that time.
I guess 14 was the end of Ünal Aysal. All right.
Yeah. Bonus question number 2. Who used the first penalty in Galatasaray's UEFA Cup final? Okan Buruk, Ergün Pembe, Hakan Şükür, or George Hagi? The first penalty.
I feel like I remember Ergün Pembe on those highlight videos.
You're remembering it very correctly.
Woo!
There's some good VHS knowledge you got there.
Hell yeah, I remember that fist pump.
And last bonus question number 3. In what year did Ünal Aysal become president of Galatasaray? 2010, 2011, 2012, or 2013?
I think it was 2012.
Almost.
Actually, no. 11-12.
11,
It was
12.
11-12
correct.
season, so 2011, yeah.
All right. That's good. Okay.
That was when Arda left.
Yeah, you passed the test. Maybe I should do these quizzes before we start talking, so I can check if they're real Gala fans.
That's true. It's a good verification right there.
So that's kind of rounds up the episode, Nurshad.
Awesome, man. This was very fun.
Oh, hell yeah, definitely. For us too. Is there anything you want to plug for our listeners?
Before we get there, I'm just really curious as to our current situation and what Nurshad thinks as well.
Yeah.
Nurshad, obviously we didn't have the best season. What do you expect for the next season? Like, let's try and keep it short and simple. The coach, Turkish, foreign. If there's a specific Turkish coach you want, the players that you think we need in what position. Just a quick paragraph or two. I'm just curious what you think.
I mean, I think we're going to do much better next season. You know, I'm very optimistic. That's all I can hope for. We don't repeat this season, because that was, I don't even want to say frustrating. It was, it hurt me to see. But I feel like we'll probably end up with Okan Buruk. He seems like the most popular candidate right now. They keep talking about these other names. They're throwing it out there, but I think they're just going to end up going with Okan anyway. He feels like the right choice. He's from Galatasaray. He has the experience of leading a team to a championship. Mm-hmm. I think he won the Turkish Cup as well, right? With IDB, or was it Akhisar?
With Akhisar, yep.
Yeah. So I mean, he knows how to play the big games, and I really liked the style that he had the team playing. They played more modern football, and you know you're gonna get that because he's a younger guy anyway, so his head's in the right space. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they appoint him soon so we can start making some transfers.
Yeah.
You know, transfer season is here, and I hate when there's no movement. It gets me very anxious.
We should be used by you should be used by
for real. I'm seeing the news about Jason Denayed, and then I saw somebody say Beşiktaş was interested, so I'm like, do not make this another get some move. Yeah. We need to hop on Denayed. If we're gonna sell Marcao, then we need Denayed.
Yeah.
ASAP.
I've become very resilient to these stuff.
I mean, as far as other moves, we definitely need someone at a CDM. I feel like we're gonna have, if we keep Kerem and we have Yasin on the wings, we're golden. We do need a solid striker move. Either we get someone new or we have whoever the new coach is just solidify that starting role. Because that's honestly where a lot of our problem came from. One day we're playing Cagne, one day we're playing Halil, the next day we're playing Mustafa. Nobody got that rhythm. And no one had the confidence to say, I'm the star striker, I'm going to get it done. It was always them trying to prove themselves. And then when they feel that pressure, they were messing up. So we never got 100% from any of them, which is sad for them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So whoever comes in, they need to make that call straight away. Either we're going to pick someone and stick with them, or find somebody new that we can rely on up front. Because that was our biggest weakness. Even with Fatih Terim, we had so many chances, so many opportunities. We were playing great offensively, but we just couldn't finish. And I feel like a lot of that was because of their confidence.
Yeah. And I think something you mentioned, like a very important factor is have that consistency in your format system players. And that reminded me of when we had Snyder. And don't get me wrong, I love Snyder. But before he came, we were, as a team play, we were playing ridiculously well. And whoever you put in would be in that system. The whole system would be, A team would do 4-4-2 diamond. The under 19 would do the same. It was established around that. And when Snyder came, I know Fatih Terim didn't want him. He wanted from Real Madrid at that time. And basically, when Snyder came, it did mess up that system because we needed to put him in the 10 role. And in 4-4-2, it couldn't.
I mean, it messed with Selçuk too. He was never the same after that either.
So, yeah, there's a lot of things to consider in football. Hey, I have almost forgot the traditional question I always ask people in the podcast. And I'm gonna explain if you don't understand the question. Yasin knows what's up. Are you a front wiper or a back wiper? Nurshad.
How did I know this was coming? I listened to that episode and I was even going to make a comment on Twitter.
Which one?
You guys talk a lot of shit.
Oh, you're familiar with the question. That's good. So I'm curious. I'm looking for that front wiper, gang.
Are you talking about going from the front or going from the back?
Yeah, exactly. So when you sit on the toilet, take a shit, do you reach from the back or do you reach from the front to wipe it off?
I guess it's a two-part question, right?
I got a bidet, right? So I make sure I use the bidet, get nice and clean.
Yeah.
And then I reach from the back.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I'm going to find the front wiper. We actually have one friend that does it. Until now, he's the only one. And he's a buffed guy and he has thick legs. And I was wondering, how do you reach?
I feel like that would be more difficult. You got to like move your leg in an awkward position.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's actually a friend of Yasin that's a front wiper as well, right? Burak.
Yeah. And
I love that
he
he's
has thick
labeled the
legs
front
too.
wiper.
Yeah, it's mind blown when I heard that. But hey, want to plug something, Nurshad?
Yeah, I'll plug my business, man.
Yeah.
If anybody needs any graphics, www.sarkicreative.com. That's SARKI creative.com. Or you can even find me on Instagram at Sarki Creative. You need help with your merch? You need help with your podcast album cover that you put on Spotify? You let me know. I do it all, man.
Nice.
Awesome.
And your Twitter handle?
Twitter handle, I think it's still Shad Sarki. I shortened Nurshad over there just for the Gelwers. I can't say it, but you know.
All right. Thank you very much, Nurshad. It's been a pleasure. And
Definitely, man. For me too.
Loved it. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
This was a blast. Thanks, guys.